Very good morning, students. Welcome back to online classes. Now, we are going to start a new chapter called as Inheritances in C++. A new chapter called as Inheritances in C++. This chapter will have a weightage of 5 marks, totally 5 marks. Here we don't have any 1 mark questions, 2 mark questions or 3 mark questions. We used to have only one 5 mark questions from this chapter. Now let us see what are the topics we are going to have in this inheritancy chapter. Let us start this chapter. Inheritances. One of the most important concepts in OOPS programming is that of inheritances. Inheritances all us to define a class in terms of another class, which makes it easier to create and maintain an application. This also provides an opportunity to reuse the code functionality and fast implementation. When creating a class, instead of writing a complete new data, members and member functions, the program can design that the new class should inherit the members of existing class. This existing class we called as a base class, and new class is referred as derived class. Now we'll see that what is an inheritances. Inheritances is a process by which new class called as derived class or created from existing class called as base class. The derived class have all the features of base class, and the programmer can choose to add a new features specific to the newly created derived class. The idea of inheritance is a relationship. The idea of inheritances implements is a relationship. For example, mammal is an animal, dog is an mammal. Hence, dog is a animal and also well as on. Will come again. The inheritances is a process by which a new class called derived class are created from existing class called base class. The derived class have all the features of the base class, and the programmer can choose to add a new features specific to the newly created derived class. The idea of implementing the relationship. For an example, mammal is a animal, dog is a mammal. Hence, dog is a animal as well as so on. We'll see the example for the inheritances. Here we have a small example telling that here we have a base class called as a mammal. Base class as a mammal. Mammal have a certain characters. The same character can be inherited by the derived class. For an example, dog is a derived class and cat is a derived class. A dog is a mammal. It has all features of mammal in addition to its own unique features. Same as when you talk about cat. Cat is a mammal. It has a features of mammal in addition of its own unique features. For example, when you talk about dog, when dog barks, the sound is different. And same thing, the cat, when it sounds, the sound which is to be in a different way. But dog is also walking in a four legs, and cat is also walking into the four legs, which is similar. But the dog has a different unique features and cat has a different unique features. Now we'll see that what is the syntax, how to write the syntax for the inheritance. The syntax for a inheritance is, here we are following a syntax how to create a inheritance syntax. To create a derived class from an already existing base class, the syntax is first you needed to mention the keyword called as a class. You needed to mention the keyword, call it as a class, followed by derived class name, followed by derived class name, followed by derived class name and colon and a colon, and colon followed by access specifiers. The colon followed by the access specifier. The access specifier may be in public, protect or private. Public, protect or private, followed by the base class name. Base class name, that is nothing but already existing class name. Already existing class name. Now an example. When you talk about an example, a class is a keyword. Class is a keyword followed by a derived class name, that is son. For an example, son is a inherited by his father. So the son is a derived class name. Son is a derived class name followed by a semicolon, followed by a semicolon, and semicolon is being followed by the access specifier, that is nothing but public. Public followed by the father. Public followed by the father. There is no any semicolon here. Understood? Will come again. Class is a keyword. Class is a keyword followed by a derived class name. Followed by a derived class name, that is son. Son followed by a colon. Son followed by a colon. Colon is being followed by the access specifier. The access specifier, for an example, public. Public followed by the derived class, base class. Public followed by the base class. The father is nothing but the base class. Here, what is the name of a derived class? Son is a derived class and father is a base class, where our access specifier is one of the public or protect or a private. We can give any of these three one specifier for the base class. And this is the syntax how we are going to create an inheritances. Now let us see the features or advantages of inheritances. The first feature is reusability of a code. First one is reusability of a code. Second one, saves time and effort. Saves time and effort. Third one, data mining. Data mining. Fourth one is extendability. The fourth one is extendability. Fifth one, easy to understand. Sixth one, reliability. Seventh one is maintainability. Now let us see the first feature. What is the first feature? That is reusability of code. What is that reusability of code? It helps the code to be reused in many situations. This base class is defined as once it has been compiled, it need not to be reworked. Using the same concept of inheritancy, the programmer can create a many derived classes from the base class as need, which adding a specific features to each derived class is needed. Will come again. Reusability, which helps a code to reuse in many situations. This base class is defined and once it is compiled, it need not to rework. Once it has been compiled, there is need not to rework. Using the same concept of inheritancy, the programmer can create as many derived classes. He can create as many derived classes from one base class as needed, which adding a specific feature to each derived class is needed. Second one is saves times and effort. Saving times and effort, the above concept of reusability achieves by inheritances. Saves the programmer time and effort since the main code written can be reused in various situations as needed. Will come again. This save time and effort. How it is going to save the time and effort in the sense by reusing the same code which is already written, that is nothing but the above concept of reusing the achieved by inheritances saves a programmer time and effort. Since the main code is written, can be reused in various situations that we call as save time and effort. The third one is data mining. Data mining. The above class can decide to keep some data private so that it cannot be altered by the derived class. The features is nothing but the above class, that is nothing but base class, can decide to keep some private data so that it cannot be altered by the derived class, that we call as data mining. Extendability. What is that extendability? The base class logic as per business logics of derived class. That is nothing but extendability, the base class logic as per business logic of a derived class. Easy to understand. Easy to understand. It is easy to understand large program with us of a inheritances. By using a inheritances, we can easily understand the concept of a inheritances. Reusability. Reusability increases a program structure which results in great reliability. It results in great reliability. And last one is maintainability. Maintainability, it is easy to debug a program when divided in a parts. Divided in a parts. Inherencies provide an opportunity to capture the program. Inheritances provide an opportunity to capture and program. These are the different features. These are the different features of inheritances. Will come again. The first feature is reusability of codes. Second feature is saves times and effort. Second feature is save times and effort. Third one is data hiding. Third one is data hiding. The fourth one is extendability. Fifth one is easy to understand. Sixth one is reliability. The seventh one is maintainability. These are the different advantages which we have it into the inheritances. We'll see that what are the access specifiers in inheritances. Before seeing the access control, we'll just go for the example 2. I have a class called as a vehicle. Vehicle is one class. And this vehicle will act as a base class. Vehicle will act as a base class. This vehicle base class is furtherly divided by one more class called as a wheeled vehicle as well as your without wheeled vehicle, that I have given an example as boat. When I see that wheeled vehicle is a derived class from the vehicle base class, and boat is a derived class of a base class called as a vehicle. And when you see here, when you come across here, the wheeled vehicle is furtherly divided as furtherly derived by one of the class called as a car. One of the class called as a car, and one more class which has been derived from the wheeled vehicle, that is bicycle. And furtherly car is furtherly derived by two-door cars as well as your four-door cars. And now let us clearly understand the concept. Two-door two-door car is a derived class from the base class called as a car. Car will act as a base class for two-door, and car will be a derived class for the wheeled vehicle class. And now which is a base class for car? Wheeled vehicle is a base class for the car, and the wheeled vehicle is a derived class from the base class called as a vehicle. Students, now clearly understand you. I hope that you people understand that just a theory of a inheritances, that vehicle is a base class which is derived by the wheeled vehicle, and wheeled vehicle is furtherly derived by the car as well as a bicycle. This is a concept of inheritances. Now let us see how we are going to create a codings for inheritances. So we have a simple example for the previous example for a vehicle. Now let us see that. Already told you that in the example, vehicle is a base class. How to create a base class? That is nothing but just a keyword called as a class. Keyword called as a class, followed by a base class name, followed by the base class name. The base class name is vehicle. The base class name is a vehicle, and I'm going to derive the characters of a base class into a derived class. How to create a derived class in the sense by using a class name, by using a class name followed by a derived class name, followed by a derived class name. Derived class name is wheeled vehicle. Wheeled vehicle is my derived class, derived class name. And how to derive the class from the base class is nothing but by using a colon, by using a colon and giving a access specifier. By giving a access specifier, the access specifier may be a public, private or protect, followed by the access specifier. What is the name of a base class? The same name should be given into the derived, followed by the base class name should be given here. That is called as a vehicle. Now, how to create a derived class? Class is a keyword followed by derived class name and followed by a colon, colon which is being followed by access specifier, and followed by that you people have to give the base class name. Now, the wheeled vehicle is derived by the class called as a vehicle. Here we have an important note, that is nothing but a class can be derived from more than one class, which means can inherit a data and functions from multiple base class. In that case, a class derived lists name of one or more base class, each separated with a colon or a comma, which is being separated by a comma, right? This is how we are going to create a derived class from the base class. Let us see what are the access control we have it into the inheritances. Before starting the access control and inheritances, we'll just see that a basic concept of access specifier. In an access specifier, we have private, protect as well as your public. The private members cannot be accessed by the outside the class members. Protect can be accessed outside the class members by using a special functions. And public member functions can be used at any point of a classes. This is nothing but a basic rules of access specifiers. When I apply the same thing into the inheritances, we'll see that what are the rules we follow. Here we have a diagram. We have a diagram called as a base class. Base class. In a base class, I have an access control called as a public, protect as well as your private. When these access specifiers or access control used in inheritances, how it will work onto the base class, how it will work, base class members will work onto the derived class. For an example, this is a base class. I have child class. Child class is nothing but derived class. Child class nothing but a derived class. Once you see that in a private which is being under the base class cannot be accessed by the child class, cannot be accessed by the child class, understood? But in a protect under the base class can be accessed by the child class, can be accessed by the child class. Whereas public member functions, a public member function can also accessed by the derived class, accessed by the derived class. In only one case, the private member functions cannot be accessed by the derived class or a child class. The important note, that is a derived class can access all protect and public members of its base class. It cannot access, only it cannot access the private members of a base class. These are the rules which you have it onto the access control. Here we have visibility modes and inheritances. A child class can inherit a base class in three ways. They are private, protect as well as your public. Now in this diagram I have this columns, this side which is to be the members of the access control of derived class. Keep it into mind. This is derived class access control. This side I have base class access control. This side is nothing but base class, and this side is nothing but a derived class. We'll see that I have private under the base class. Private under the base class. If the member function present in private under the base class, if the member function, when it is called towards a derived class, it cannot be inheritance even though it is private under the derived class. Private under the derived class also it cannot be inheritance. The same private members of base class cannot be inherited under the derived class protect. It cannot be accessed by the derived class protect, cannot access the private member of a base class. Same thing when you talk about the derived class public members of private based onto base class is also cannot be inheritance. Overall, that is nothing but the private member function which is initialized by the base class cannot be inherited by the other derived class. Same thing when you go for the next access control, that is nothing but a protect under the base class. Protect under the base class, they will have many member function. If that base class member function under the protect which is being called by the derived class private, when they call under the private, the protect member function will become as private. Protect will change as into a private under the derived class private. When it has been called by the protect member function under the base class in derived class protect position, then the protect member function of member of classes becomes a protect will become as a protect itself. Whereas when it goes to the private, it will change. Protect will change into a private under the private base class. When it comes under the derived class protect, which is called the member function from the base class member, it will act as a protect only. And when the public members under the derived class which is called by the base class protect, here it becomes as protect. It will never changes to the public. But the protect member function under the base class will change it into a protect itself. It will never change as public. Just have a look here. The very important, the protect member function under the private section will change as private only. Once it is called by the protect under the derived class, the protect member function of a base class will change it into the protect itself. And once it has been called by the derived class public section, the protect member function will not change as public. It will remain the same as protect. This is the changes which you have it once you call the protect member from the base class towards a derived class access control. Now we'll see that what are the public member function under the base class. If I call the public member function of the base class under the derived class private, the public member function from the base class will be called by the derived class private. It becomes as private itself. The public member function from the base class will change it into derived class part as a private itself. Once a public member function under the base class is called by the protect under the derived class, it becomes as protect itself. It becomes as protect itself. When the same thing which is being called by the derived class public member function, the public member function from the base class will change as a public itself. It is not going to go as any other thing. It will change as a public member function. This is how the access is being given for the inheritances from the base class member function towards a derived class member function. To clearly understand, for a clear understanding, the visibility mode, we are going to discuss in the code wise how the private inheritances, that is nothing but in a private inheritances, protect and public members of a base class becomes as private members of a derived class. That I already told you that the private members cannot be accessed from the base class to the derived class. I have created a two classes. I have created a two classes, that is nothing but father is a base class and child is a derived class. Clearly understand the concept. I have created a two class. One is nothing but father is a base class and child is a derived class. See here how I derived. The class is a keyword followed by derived class name and private access specifier, and I specified the father. Once I give in this way, it becomes as this class becomes as a derived class and this class becomes as base class. Understood? Under the base class, I have the access specifier, that is private, protect, as well as a public. Under the private in the base class, I have declared a member function called as an A. Function A. Function A belongs to private in a base class. And have created a function B. That is, function B is a member function of a base class under protect. Clearly understand the concept. In a private, function A is being based on private. Under protect, I have created a function B. Under public, I have created a function C. I'll come again. Under private, this class is a base class. This is nothing but a base class. Under base class, I have created a function A under private and function B under protect and function C under public. Understood? These are the three functions which is being created into the base class. Now we'll go for derived class. Under derived class, I have the derived class name as a child, which is derived from the father. Under derived class, I have created a function called function X. Function X related to the private. Function Y, which comes under the protect. Function Z, which comes under the public. Here you needed to understand again. I have created the function X under private, Y function under the protect, and Z function under the public. I have two derived class. Now let us see how it is being accessed, how it is being called. Check it out here. I have a private A. Private A. Now coming here under the child class. Under the child class, I have private. I have a private. Under the private, I can call function X, function H, which has been under the derived class. Now int function B, the function B which belongs to a base class under protect, so that this function can be called under the base class, and also the protect Y function is being called. Here I have public. Under public, I have called function C, which belongs to base class function C. See here, you people have to clearly understand. I could call this function B as well as your function C. Once you observe this part, I cannot call the member function which is under the private, which is belongs to a base class as a father. But I could call function B function C, which is under the base class, which is being called by the derived class. This is what the private member function, which is belongs to a base class under private, cannot be called by the any other derived class. This is an example for it. Just see and observe it. In a private inheritances, protect and public members of a base class becomes a private members of a derived class. Now let us see the next visibility mode. Same type of example I have taken into this protect inheritances too. In a protect inheritances, protect and public members of base class becomes as protect member of a derived class. Come again here. In a protect, the inheritances, protect and public members of base class becomes as protect members of a derived class. I've taken the same example. Father is a base class and child is a derived class. Once you come across here under base class function A, just remember this, function A belongs to a private under base class. Function B, which belongs to the protect under base class, and function C, which belongs under public under base class called as a father. Now we'll go for the derived class. Derived class, the child is a derived class, and under child function X is a member function under private, and function Y is a function under protect, and function Z is a function under public. We have created two classes, one is base class, one is derived class. Now we'll see that the protect member function under protect, what are the member function can be called from the base class, just check it out here. Here we have called all the member function from the base class to the derived class. Now here you people have to clearly observe the function which is to be under protect, which belongs to a derived class called as a child. Now I have already created a function Y. Function Y belongs to a derived class itself. And function B, which is created under the protect in a base class. This function also can be called under the derived class, which belongs to a base class protect. As well as I can also call the function which is created under public in a base class, which can be called under the derived class. This is the concept. But when you see here, we cannot call the private member function under the base class. This is a concept which is to be in a protect. The protect member function can be called under the derived class, where in a protect side too we can call. This is a small working is given an example to you. Just observe this. The same example I have taken for public inheritances too. Where here we have the same thing as father is a base class and child is a derived class. Now we will discuss that what are the functions which is to be under the public. In a protect inheritances, the protect member becomes a protect member of the base class, and the public member function of a base class becomes the public member of a derived class. I will come again. In a protect inheritances, the protect members becomes the protect members of a base class, and public member of the base class becomes as public members of a derived class. Now let us see, under the private, A is a function under the private, B is a function under the protect, and C function is nothing but under the public. And I have created the same thing, function X under the private, function Y under the protect, and function Z as a protect. Now let us see how I could call the members belongs to a base class under the public, how it can be called towards a derived class. Now this is a derived class which is called the member functions from the base class. See here, X is already created in the derived class, and function Y which is already created under the derived class, I have called the function B which is created under the protect, which is called under the protect itself. Now I'm going to call the function Z is created under the public in the derived class itself. Now observe this, the function C belongs to the base class called as a father, base class as a father. The function which is called under the derived class called as a child, derived called as a child. The public members inherited from the base class, the public member which has been inherited from the base class. This is how you can call the function which is been already created by giving a visibility modes, by giving a visibility modes or access control, can be control the data by through the three things, that is nothing but public, private and protect. This is how we are going to give the access specified. That's nothing but giving a privilege for the derived class, how to what are the data can be accessed by the derived class from the base class. Thank you, students. I hope that today's topic is very well understood by you. The upcoming topics will discuss into the next class. Thank you.